Hello, gang. So good to see everybody coming in the room. Hello, greetings. Welcome to today's Daily Antidote of Song. So glad you all decided to join us. Today is day 2 of our Singing for Racial Justice Week. And I'll say right now, we've had so many schedule changes this week. We've changed the flyer twice. We're actually just going to stop changing the flyer. We're just going to sit tight for a little while. So Reggie was going to be with us today, but the weather has caused travel plans for him. So we are lucky that we could switch Jim Harkless from Sunday to today. So let's all say hi to Jim. Hello. We're really glad you're here to sing with us today, Jim. And we're going to say hi to everybody in the room and everybody on the live stream. Hi, live stream. Thanks for joining us today. And then we'll get the show started. So I'm Jo Rossi. I'm the director of Daily Antidote of Song. For anybody who's new, we are one sing-along song every day at noon Eastern. We've been doing this for 13 some hundred and something or other days, and maybe somebody will cue me. And we are still here, still ticking, thinking about things like racial and social justice, singing to strengthen ourselves, and finding community in isolation, no matter what kind of isolation we live in. And so we're glad you've decided to join us today. Let's say hi and thank you to Erin, coming in from Brooklyn in New York. She is our techie for the day. Thanks, Erin, for being here. Mabel and the Bears in Massachusetts, who I recently met. Nice to see you. Martha in Oregon, thanks for being here. Hello to Martha, another Martha, and I'm not sure where you're from, but I'm glad you're here, Martha. Hello to Marlene, who I just talked to yesterday, and it's nice to have you back again, Marlene. Thanks for being here. Hi to Arlene in California. Great to have you. Hi, Susan in Tacoma Park. Hello to Gary in Massachusetts. Hello to Elena. Nice to have you back with us. Glad you're here. Hello to Dally in Maryland, Elizabeth in California, Ruth and Clive coming in from London, UK. Glad you guys are traveling together. Hope you're having a blast. Hello to Susan in Cincinnati, who's queuing me on the day, but I can't read the whole thing. I have to come back to that. Julia in Ontario, Canada, Athena in Brooklyn, Laris in the UK. Nice to have you, Laris. Sheila in North Florida, Cricket in Maryland, Linda in Concord, Mass, Luda and Mark in Victoria, reminding us to think a lot about love. Perfect, actually, for today's song. Hello to Pam, coming in from maybe New Jersey, I can't remember, but we're glad you're here today. And hello to Aloysius in Massachusetts. Sarah, nice to have you with us today. Sue in Seattle, nice to have you with us. Going to screen 2, there's Caroline in DC, Fred in Silver Spring, Maryland. Hello to Anne coming in from Nashville. Busy Graham, Carpe Diem Arts. Everybody give a big wave. Thank you, Busy Graham and Carpe Diem Arts, for making this Daily Antidote possible. Curly Top Pop coming in from Vermont. Jamie in Victoria. Kate in Charlottesville. Jen in Silver Spring. Dick and Kathy, maybe in their pajamas, coming in from Victoria, BC, off camera. Those are 2 of our favoritist song leaders and hosts. We're glad you're here today. Sarah in Texas, Sandy in Western North Carolina, Kathleen in Albuquerque, Ann in Silver Spring, Kevin in DC with the flute. Hi to Gracie. Nice to see you again. Marcia coming in from Huntsville, Ontario. Hello to Nancy's Irish Cow, Washington State, Carolyn, Connecticut, Lynn in Connecticut. Theodore, you might be new to us today. Glad you're here today, Theodore. Hoda in British Columbia, Annette in California, Kat in Vermont, Storm in Massachusetts. Hello to Nancy, also maybe new to us today. Hi, Mommy in New Jersey. Bob in Massachusetts. Hello to Claudia. Nice to have you with us today. That's Claudia from Washington Rebels, a fan of Jen Harkless, so we're glad you're here. Lynn and Cliff coming in from Vermont, Bonnie in Idaho, Jane in Texas. Somebody else still coming in the room. Aha, I see who's coming in the room. So coming in the room is Alex Cumming, our favorite Alex Cumming, host and song leader extraordinaire and the creator of our amazing Daily Antidote of Song Bandcamp 5 album release. Still more folks coming. Okay, gang, whoever's still coming in, I'm going to get you on the goodbye end. We're going to turn the floor over to today's magical song leader. Jim Harkless is in the house. Welcome, Jim.
Yeah, hello, everyone. I am so happy that I'm able to join you today on the spur of the moment. I'd like to start off by thanking all of you who supported me during the time I was in rehabilitation in November and December. I got back to my place, my senior place where I am now. I'm in a different location, as you may, those of you who have seen me before, this is my living room. I really, when I got back to here in on December 28th, I opened my mailbox and I was overwhelmed with the wonderful cards that I received from, and I can't name each of you, but I certainly appreciate your support. I still am recovering from the surgery to my foot, the blister on my heel. It's coming along very well, but I am still doing physical training. And the song that I have selected today is one I did not long ago, and it's appropriate for two reasons. One is that I did it at the time, and it follows the day after the composer, the wonderful Melanie Demore, who was here yesterday, and gave us a wonderful song of her other songs. This is you got to put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. And love is what it's all about, as I've said many, many times. I do want to, there are some special people here for the first time. Ted Petula, my good friend in New York, who's been taking care of his mother in New York, upstate New York, for over a year. He left his job, and he's just a wonderful. He was my bartender at my favorite restaurant, Bistro Le Pic.
Oh, that's great.
And I'm so glad to have you with us, Ted. And of course, those of you who responded to my posting, like Claudia and others, thanks so much. So we'll start with the song is, you gotta put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. You got to put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. Put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. Can we do that? You got to put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. Put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. Let's do it again. You got to put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. Put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. Okay, are we ready to go? All right. And I'll sing some verses, and we'll do one foot in front of the other twice between each verse. All right, let's start. You got to put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. Put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. You got to put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. Put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. Don't give up hope. You're not alone. Don't you give up. Keep moving on. You got to put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. Put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. You got to put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. Put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. Lift up your eyes. Don't you despair. Look up ahead. The path is there. You got to put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. Look in front of the other and lead with love. You got to put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. Put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. Lift up your eyes. Don't you despair. Look up ahead. The path is there. You got to put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. Put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. You got to put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. Put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. I know you're scared, and I'm scared too. But here I am, right next to you. You got to put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. Put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. We've got to put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. Put one foot in front of the other and lead with love, and lead with love, and lead with love.
Woo. Okay, thank you so much, Jim Harkless. That was so much fun. What a great way to also honor Melanie DeMora, who brought us yesterday's song, and who did, in fact, say something yesterday about like it's kind of too bad that what we're doing is still singing about a lot of the same issues.
Right.
And so I'm glad that you chose this song today, and I think part of today's discussion will be talking about some of those issues. Can you just start by talking about why you chose this song and your recent experiences?
Yes, well, as I mentioned, I was in rehab, and when I first got there, because of my surgery on my heel, I was not able to put any weight on my left foot, so I was just in a wheelchair, and I could only do the physical training using one leg. And, they had the. I was able to use both legs when I was using the mobile. They have the mobile bikes, but there were people in the rehab from all ages and all stages of. There was one woman who actually had only one leg. There was another patient who had was leg. There were two people whose legs, their left legs were severed at the knee, and they were all of the people going through rehab. It was amazing the determination that each person had, and how good the physical therapists were in taking each person as they were. And one of the physical therapists, who actually happened to be from India,
Oh, wow.
and she actually came to my room and was doing some things with me in my room, and she sang something to me, and I said, well, I can sing also. And so I sang something to her, and she said, well, you need to sing for us in the physical therapy room. The physical therapy room was a large room. There usually were about 10 people in there at a time, about 5 physical and maybe even more, 6 or 7 or 8 physical therapists. And I sang this song, and it was a big hit. I think everyone was inspired by putting one foot in front of the other and leading with love.
So when we were talking earlier, you said that actually you thought was a big part of Martin Luther King's message.
Yes, I don't know whether anyone else. I just happened to see a documentary on Dr. King, which was on television for the first time. It was on Taylor Turner classical movies. And it was a documentary, I guess, that was done some years ago, but it was in movie theaters for a short while, and it was nominated for an Oscar. And it's just a wonderful documentary. It's mostly film clips of what went on in his life from 1955 up to 1968. And even though I'm 2 years younger than Dr. King was, and so we were contemporaries. In fact, when I was at Harvard College, Dr. King was studying for his master's degree in divinity at Boston University. And although I did not know him, one of my roommates, my roommate actually at the time in our junior year, no, I guess it was our sophomore year, decided to join the Alpha fraternity, which had a chapter at Boston University, and Martin Luther King was one of the members. And so he, even though he didn't recognize, none of us recognized who he would become. At the time when he was there, I think it's come up before in our discussions, Howard Thurman, Dr. Howard Thurman was teaching there, was a great figure and influence in Martin Luther King's life. Howard Thurman had been a disciple of Gandhi, and I think it was through his influence that Martin Luther King also always came under that influence and the principle of nonviolence. So watching that documentary, even though I lived through that period, I was protected in my life. I was in my 30s then, 1955. I was actually in my 20s. But growing up in Detroit, Michigan, I was not exposed. It was just so graphic on the documentary, the circumstances in which the people in Montgomery and Birmingham and Selma and those Lowndes County, Alabama, these horrible conditions of racism, day after day, where you're faced with signs that say white only or white colored. Everywhere you went, it was just it had to have a traumatic effect on people growing up in those circumstances. But Dr. King not only had influence in the South, but he carried his message. The documentary showed when he went to Chicago, people had forgotten about, and Chicago was a place like Detroit in the North, and of course there was racism there, but it was not in the same form as it was in the South. And then, of course, he then also turned his attention to the Vietnam War. And then at the very end, he came to the support of the sanitation workers in Memphis who were on strike. And on April 4th, when he was there supporting that effort, of course, he was assassinated. And we still face, even though we've made tremendous progress, it's over the years, we have African Americans in high places throughout our society, but at the same time, there's a lot of disparity in our society, and it's still important to be aware of these circumstances, that there's still too many people who hate rather than love.
Amen to that. That's beautiful, Jim. Thank you so much for sharing all of that. And I did appreciate what you said earlier when you were talking about how those signs on the water fountains and the lunch counters and the other places, how those were defeating for everyone. Those were, you know, you were talking about the judges in New Orleans.
Well, my first experience with it was in 1963, in January of 1963. I was working for the National Labor Relations Board as they called them. We were called appellate court attorneys. We were the sort of elite attorneys in the National Labor. We were actually in the General Counsel's office. I was the first African American lawyer in that section of the National Labor Relations Board. Here, this agency had been in existence since the 1930s. And it wasn't until 1962 that they had an African-American lawyer who went into court to enforce their decisions. And I had a case that I had to argue before the Fifth Circuit, Federal Circuit Court in New Orleans in January. And the federal building at that time was being renovated, so they were sitting temporarily in the State Wildlife and Fisheries building in the French Quarter. And back in those days, there were no credit cards and that kind of thing to make reservations. You made your reservations by telephone. And it was uncertain whether I would even be able to stay at a hotel there. President Kennedy, one of the things that he did early on I think it was in 1962, he had asked the major hotel chains to open up their hotels to African Americans. So I made a reservation. We made a reservation through the agency at the Sheraton, which is in the French Quarter, still probably is still there. And I also had a friend who was from New Orleans, who knew New Orleans, and she was uncertain herself as to whether I would be able to stay there. So she made arrangements for me to stay with a doctor friend in case things didn't work out. And as it turned out, when I showed up at the hotel, they didn't have a reservation for me, and they didn't have a room for me. So I used my alternate plans. The next morning, when I went down to the court building, the building where the court was sitting, I walk in, and the first thing that I see are the water fountains, and I see the signs of white and colored. And then I got on the elevator and went up to the fourth floor. And I have a dim memory. I'm not quite sure whether I sort of think that those signs were not there on the fourth floor, but I'm not sure of that. But at any rate, these judges who were making the most important decisions at that time in civil rights, had these federal judges every day when they were in that building. They were in that kind of environment. I don't know what it was like in the federal building during those days. Something that I didn't talk with Joe earlier was at that time the next, actually after the argument was over, I was a very good friend of Dutch Muriel, who was my age and was a young lawyer. there in New Orleans. He was from New Orleans, and I had met his fiancee. Was a student at Boston University when I was in college, and we were friends, and he would come up to visit her. So I knew him socially, and he took me to lunch that afternoon. And some of you may know that later, some years later, he became the first black mayor of New Orleans. And his son also succeeded him. But at that lunch, we walked in the restaurant Dookie Chase's, which is a famous African-American restaurant in New Orleans. Andy Young is also from New Orleans, and his father was a dentist, and his brother was sitting there, who was a dentist, with a young woman whose name I don't remember, but she was the regional director for the Congress of Racial Equality in the South. And during lunch, she told the story about her being arrested when in one of the demonstrations. And it turned out, I thought it was in Louisiana, but it actually was in Gadsden, Alabama. And during the trial, the prosecutor kept calling her by her first name, Mary. And I unfortunately, I don't remember her name, but said it was Mary Brown. And she said, "My name is Miss Mary Brown, and I won't answer your questions until you address me properly." And the judge said, "No, Mary, you answer the questions." Well, I won't go into all the detail, but
wow.
He held her in contempt, and she had to go to jail.
Wow.
And many people don't know. She had such courage to stand up. And that case actually went to the U.S. Supreme Court, and a couple of years later, she won the case.
Wow.
But I still admire her so much for. And that's what Dr. King and John Lewis, who was this, and of course so many of them who were involved, but it took so much courage to do what they did day after day. Mm-hmm. And it even takes courage for people to stand up when racist incidents occurring right before you. Are you going to say something or not? Are you good, or just let it go? Mm-hmm. And we have to step up.
You do have to step up, and you're right, it takes a lot of courage, but I think, one of the things that's so amazing is to look at the courage of all of the people you included, the courage, the not giving up hope. I mean, so like right back to the lyrics of the song, not giving up hope, not going into despair, leading with love, hang on to that courage. It's our strength that makes the change. And I would love it if we would sing it again. Can we sing it again? Let's do it.
We're going to sing some more.
Yeah, we're going to do it.
This is going to be a test. I don't know if Kevin Cole is here. Is Kevin here today?
The
with his flute?
Yep.
Well, Kevin, this is going to be a test because the last time I did this, he was playing his flute along, and he then sent me the recording, and he said he was so amazed that when I sang it again, I sang it on the same pitch as I did for the first time. So,
that's great.
So Kevin, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it again, but you got to put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. Put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. You got to put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. Put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. Don't give up hope. You're not alone. Don't you give up. Keep moving on. You got to put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. Put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. You got to put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. Put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. Lift up your eyes. Don't you despair. Look up ahead. The path is there. You got to put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. Put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. You got to put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. Put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. I know you're scared, and I'm scared too, but here I am, right next to you. You got to put one foot on the other and lead with love. Put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. You got to put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. Put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. I left out a verse. Lift up your eyes. Don't you despair. Look up ahead. The path is there. You got to put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. Put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. We've got to put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. Put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. And lead with love. And lead with love.
Thank you so much, Jim Harkless. What a treat to sing with you. What a treat to be able to talk about anti-racist issues and about Martin Luther King here in this week. Can we all please give it up for Jim Harkless, bringing us a lot of love, a lot of wisdom, a lot of joy, and your whole fan club, you can see, are all delighted. Thank you again.
I feel so fortunate to still be here and to still be able to share. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you so much, Jim Harkless. Picking the just perfect song, and we can't wait to send today's broadcast to Melanie DeMoore so that she can see how we've just spent 2 days singing Melanie music, which I really love. So thanks again, Jim Harkless. We're going to say goodbye to everybody in the room today. Everybody, thanks for sticking with us through another great anti-racist discussion. Please check out our e-news. If you haven't already seen it, we have a new section of the e-news called our Anti-Racist Journey, where we are, all of us together, have the opportunity to join in on reading the same things and watching the same things and thinking about the same things. And in this room and in other places, we'll have chances to talk about those. So 2024, we're going to put a lot of attention in this room to putting one foot in front of the other, leading with love, and seeing how we can help make our world a better place in every social and racial justice issue that we can possibly make a mark on. So thanks everybody again for being here. Jim, I see lots of your friends in the room and still more folks flooding in. All right, so we're going to say goodbye to everybody. Thanks everybody on the live stream for being here today. Let's give a big hands up to Aaron for running tech for us today out of Brooklyn. Thank you, Aaron. Great job. Bob, Mabel, and the Bears, thanks for being here. Luda and Mark and Victoria. Martha, thanks for being here. Athena in Brooklyn. Thank you, Athena. Day 1,381. That's where we are today. Yeah, that's a big wow. Thanks, Athena. Somebody else tried to show me, but I couldn't read it. Marlene, thank you for being here today. Great to have you with us again. Arlene in California, thank you. Julie in Ontario, thank you. Susan in Cincinnati. Also, there we go, day 1381. Thank you, Susan. Ruth and Clive in Birmingham, UK. It said London before. You guys are not traveling that fast. All right, Curly Top Pop in Vermont, thanks for being here. Kay, back in Texas, hope you had a great time in India. Kay, it's great to see you again. Good friend of Jim Harkless's, and Jim actually brought Kay to us. Laris in the UK, thank you for being here. Lovely to see you today in your meadow. Sheila in North Florida, Cricket in Maryland, Linda in Concord, Mass, Sue in Seattle, Kevin in DC, Kathleen in Albuquerque, Annette in California, Fred in Silver Spring, Pamela in Maryland, Hoda in British Columbia, Gracie, nice to have you with us today. I'm forgetting where you're from, I'm sorry. Theodore, glad you joined us today. Thank you so much, and glad you were able to be here. Deli in Maryland, Susan in Tacoma Park, Caroline in DC, Aloysius in Massachusetts, Jamie in Victoria, Jen in Silver Spring, Dick and Kathy in their pajamas with their cereal. Boy, you know, one of these times we're going to turn that camera on you. Sandy in Western North Carolina, Ann in Silver Spring, Nancy in Washington State, Carol in Connecticut. Great to see your face today. That's Carol of the Fabulous Spreadsheet. If anybody is new to us, you can go online on our website and see, click on a spreadsheet that shows every song that we've sung for 1,381 days, and Carol is the amazing craftsperson and volunteer who maintains that. Lynn in Connecticut, thank you. Kat Cox in Vermont, Storm in Massachusetts, Mommy in New Jersey, Lynn and Cliff in Vermont, Bonnie in Boise, Idaho, Alex coming in the house. Love you, Alex. Our fabulous Alex out of Brattleboro, Vermont, who does so much for the Daily Antidote. Jane in Texas, Carolyn in Boise, Idaho, also holding up our usual cue card, 1,381 days. Deborah in Kentucky. Diane in Puerto Rico flew in while we weren't looking. Hi, Diane. Kevin Ennis in New Hampshire. Great to see you. Jane in Maryland. Harriet in Chicago. Great to see you. Hello, Rakita. Nice to have you. I think you might be new to us today.
Yes.
Glad you're here. I think Jim might know you, so stick around if you want. We'll chat with you after we say goodbye. All right, bye, live stream. Lots of love.